So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about prayer, and I asked you to challenge, and I talked about Matthew Kelly's 7 Steps to Prayer, and I talked about a little card that he has put out together, and I said if anybody could figure out what was the significance of a particular American brand of beer with me personally, I'd give you a card. And a couple people made some guesses, and finally one of the women in the parish came up and said, it's Yingling. Because your family's from up around Pottsville. I said, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's correct. I was born in Pottsville. In fact, most of my family was born in the hospital in Pottsville. So, but anyway, I'm going to hand that card to them. But I also going to leave it out in the lobby as well. There's a small bookmark version. There's also a larger version out there. I know we've been talking in the bulletin, the article that I write about prayer. We've been talking about Lectio Divina, other forms, and anything that I feel I can do to help people pray from a practical standpoint. I think that's time well spent. So the Sojourner, who's been writing some articles in the bulletin, she put a bookmark in the lobby that has the description on how to pray using the Lectio Divina format, idea, tradition. I'll put these in there from Matt Kelly, the little prayer process, and hopefully you'll find it something useful. On Saturday, September 18th, the Holy Father put together an address to the faithful of the Diocese of Rome, but it was also intended for the whole world. And it was called Towards a Synodal Church, Communion, Participation, and Mission. I will be putting a link to this flock note. You probably didn't hear about it. This is an important document, however. A synod is kind of like a gathering. Often you hear about a synod of bishops. We've had a couple of them. There was the Amazon Synod that Pope Francis called. He had a synod on youth. He had a synod on climate change. But if you really want to know the mind of Pope Francis, this is the document you want to read. It's not very long. It's about 9 or 10 pages. But the synod that he's talking about is what he's calling a journey that is going to last from October of this year to October of 2023. And it is basically a meeting involving the entire Catholic Church, and to see what the church is, what the church should be, and the direction that the church should be going. It's interesting what he says. Like, for example, he says, we cannot understand what it means to be Catholic without thinking of a large, open, and welcoming expanse. Being church is a path to enter into this broad embrace of God. And it's going to start in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia in October. Specifically, it's kicking off with a Mass, and that Mass is going to be on the 17th. It's going to be led naturally by Archbishop Nelson Perez. And they are already in the process of putting together various teams that will case the entire Archdiocese of Philadelphia and get a sense of who we are and where we are and where we are going. This is going to be big. And one of the reasons why Pope Francis wants to especially listen to the people of God, as he says, they have a sense of the faith. And it gives everyone, therefore, a share in the dignity of what it means to be a child of God, because this dignity is the same dignity that the prophets had. It is a part of the office of Christ. And the laity can help discern the paths of the gospel in the present time. It's really quite remarkable and quite dramatic. So keep an eye on this. And I'll tell you right now, I had a group of the priests for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia had a workshop this week. Some of the priests were on Monday, some were on Tuesday, and already the Archbishop has announced on what he would like to do to implement this, not only the listening sessions, but some things very concretely that he would like to do within the short term that are going to involve every single parish, every single priest. And so I'll be talking more about this in the future, but click on the document, take a look at it. I think you'll find it interesting. I think you'll find it good spiritual food. And I will give you a little bit more information as it comes out, probably at the end of October and in the beginning of November. One more thing. In the beginning of November, I'm going to be doing the second webinar. I did one in April where I talked about what we were thinking about in terms of a direction from April until the end of the year, December, and I talked about how important it was for us to continue to bring people and invite people into that encounter with Jesus Christ through word, through liturgy, through charity, and through community. In November, what I'd like to do is talk about the second thing, and that is has three parts. I want to talk about facilities, our campus and buildings. I want to talk about finances, and I want to talk about future, and how this synod and what Archbishop Perez is talking about and planning on doing is going to kind of tie all that together, and how it impacts us here at St. Monica. So looking forward to talking to you soon.